All right, today we are moving on to texture. Texture is the way something feels when you touch it, or the way it looks like it would feel if you touched it. So in art, sometimes if we're drawing or painting and we are drawing something that has a texture to it, so maybe we're drawing a lizard with scales, or we're drawing the desert that has dry sand. Instead of coloring it all one color, sometimes we can add things like dots, lines, squiggly lines, and those types of lines can show a texture, and that helps your viewer of your artwork understand and sense your artwork in a whole new way. So even though they can't reach out and touch it, if you had something that looked a little bumpy, they might say, well, if I feel it, it's just paper. I can't really feel the texture, but it looks like if I could touch it in real life that it would be bumpy. So texture is the way something feels, or the way that it looks like it would feel. Today, we're going to go on a texture hunt, and you're going to have some choices. So if you are at home, you can go around and look for things to make your texture kit. So I have these two parts here. It says my texture kit. Texture is the way something feels, or how it looks like it would feel. And texture words. So sometimes we talk about the way something feels, you might think about emotions. You might say, well, I feel happy, I feel sad, but this kind of feel is different. This kind of feel is how something is when you touch it with your hands. So I have this feather in my hand, and as I'm touching it, even though you are not touching it, you're just watching me touch it, you might have some words for how you think this might feel. So those are some of the texture words. Now this is just a few. There are many texture words, but some of the words we're going to use today are smooth, soft, rough, bumpy, hot, prickly, fuzzy, stretchy, lumpy, scratchy, wrinkly, cold, squishy, slimy, wet, sticky, gritty, and dry. And those will be words that we can use to describe. So if you're at home, go on a texture hunt. Look around your house and see if you have some toys or some items around that have different textures that feel different ways. So here at school, I have collected up a lot of different things that we can add. This is some like fake hair, and we used these for self-portraits one year, and I still had it. And I have a little rock and a gem, and these are just these were actually inside of something that we had used to make music once. So not only can we look at them and touch them, but you can also hear them. I have a little pipe cleaner here, a piece of foam, and a smooth stone. Oops, I just used one of the words I was gonna wait, but that's okay. I have a little piece of sandpaper and some textured paper. I even have a little bit of Play-Doh and slime. Actually, I need to get my slime from over there. So what I'd like you to do today is, after you've collected up the items, so if you're at school, I'll be passing these things out one at a time, but I would like you to, whoops, sorry about that, I just bumped myself. Let me straighten it out here. There we go. And I want you, after you collect these things up, we're going to take a sheet of paper, and we're going to fold it up. Let me set those off to the side. So I'm going to fold it in half, and it can be either way. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. So what I'm trying to do is break up this space into smaller squares. So if I fold it in half, now I have two shapes, but I need more than that. So I'm going to fold it again. All right, so now we have 4. So if you're at home and you just want to do 4 textures, that's fine. But at school, I have a lot of textures, so I want to fold it one more time. And that should make 8 rectangles. rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you want, you can take your crayons or markers or colored pencils and you can draw the lines to separate each square because they are going to be separate drawings. We're going to do 8 mini drawings today. And we're going to be practicing drawing textures. So I'm going to pass out a feather to everyone, and you're going to look at your texture words and you're going to decide, okay, what is the best word for this feather? And I think the best word for me that I like is I like the word fuzzy. This is so fuzzy to me. So in the first block with your feather, you can, again with a pencil, crayon, marker, I'm going to write the word fuzzy. And if you would like, you can draw the feather. It doesn't have to be the same color or even the same shape, or you could draw something that has feathers that's fuzzy, like this little duck. I'm going to try to draw the feather. And when I draw my feather, I'm going to start with this middle piece right here. So I'm just going to draw it up. And then to make it look fuzzier, I'm going to make some light wispy lines. And as you can see, the feather gets smaller at the top. So as I go up, I'm going to make my lines shorter and shorter. So little fuzzy lines. And if you have, I'm going to use a little bit of lighter blue to add a little bit more texture to it so that it looks soft and fuzzy. So that's pretty close, right? So even though if I touch this one, I can't feel that it's fuzzy. I can for this because it's in real life. But in our drawing, we can make it look like it is fuzzy. Okay, the next one, so I'm gonna pick this bumpy rock, and that's going to be the word that I choose. Bumpy, some people might choose rough or hard or cool because it does feel cold to my touch. So I'm going to write the word bumpy. I'm going to write it in red right here. Okay. And I'm going to try to draw my rock. Now again, it doesn't have to look exactly the same as this rock. It can be any way that you would like. And I am going to try to use some of the same colors. All right. And if we look closely at the texture, you can see that there's little parts that make it bumpy. They're actually a little bit darker. So I'm going to take and draw some of those little parts. It might end up looking a little bit like a potato, but to be honest with you, this could almost look like a little mini potato with its colors. But I'm drawing these little, whoops, which way was I holding it? This way. These little bumps to help show that it's bumpy. And then remember how we talked about last week, I can color it in and just push down really lightly because this is a light color, or I can use a little bit of brown and maybe even a little bit of yellow in there because I do see a little bit of yellow. So I'll color it very lightly and then I'll add a little bit of yellow on top of that. There's my bumpy rock. So even if you didn't see this rock right here, you could tell that it was bumpy. Okay, next one I'm gonna do is my Play-Doh. So this Play-Doh to me feels squishy. You say, I don't really know how to spell the word squishy. Guess what? It's on your texture word paper. Squishy. Let's see, what color do I write? Let's do green. S-Q-U-I-S-H-Y, squishy. Now, trying to show that something is squishy might be a little bit hard. So maybe I want to draw my hand squishing it. So sometimes when we're drawing, it's helpful to actually look at what you're drawing. So if I wanted to draw my thumb, holding on to it, and then I've got my squishy Play-Doh. Now this Play-Doh is brown, but I think that I would actually like to make it a different color. And I can see a little bit of my nail. So there's my hand. I can see a little bit of my other knuckle back here, so I'll draw that. Right, and my finger underneath. Yeah, there we go. So I'm squishing it. And I think I want my Play-Doh to be blue-green. Since I love blue and I love green, I'll use blue-green. I can kind of color a little bit different, maybe add some blue in there to make some parts darker, because when it's squishing, you can see these little lines. Because it's squishy, it can move and bend in all different ways, and there's little lines in there. So I'm going to try to add those lines with my dark blue. Squishy. Let me color. And again, for my hand, I'm just going to very lightly color it in. My thumb is pretty skinny, but that's okay. This is just practice. Boop, there we go. All right, the next thing is I'm going to pick out this piece of sandpaper. So sandpaper is literally paper with sand glued on it, and when you feel it, you can maybe even hear it. Hold on, let me do it up here. Can you hear that? So sandpaper is very rough or scratchy. I'm going to write the word rough because that's what it reminds me of. So I'm going to write the word rough, and I'm going to make the word rough even look a little bumpy, because although I do have bumpy here, you could also say bumpy for this. Again, there's lots of texture words, and an item can be more than one texture word. Rough. And now I've got to draw my sandpaper. So I'm going to draw a square. And for this one, again, I'm going to very lightly push with my crayon. Whoops, I got out of the line a little bit there. It's okay. And then to make that bumpy texture, it's just a whole bunch of tiny grains of sand. So I'm going to put all these little bumps on here. Now, if you notice, sometimes I hear this. And not only does that make a big distraction for others around you, but it can break your crayon, and it doesn't necessarily always make the little circles. So what I'm doing is when I put my crayon on the paper, it's really like I'm just going in a little tiny circle. I'm just making little tiny circles, and they're much darker and easier to see than when you go up and down. So when you do your rough texture, please make sure that you are not jabbing your crayon. It can break. So just a bunch of little tiny dots. And again, some of these are shiny, some of them are darker, some of them are lighter. So I might take a little bit of black and make some black dots. I might take a little bit of yellow, and hopefully that'll help it add the shiny part. All right, but there's our rough, bumpy, scratchy texture. Okay, what do I want to choose next? I think I want to choose, oh, we didn't even talk about this one, stretchy. So stretchy texture feels, when you pull it, it tries to pull it back in towards the middle. I might say, how do we draw a stretchy? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this with pencil just in case I make a mistake. But if you notice, when we stretch it, it gets a little thinner in the middle because all the parts in the middle are now stretching outward. Actually, this one doesn't really. Okay, but I'm going to draw 2 lines, and then a slightly curved line like that, and that's sort of like a smile line, and then a slightly curved line kind of going down in a frown. And you could even draw, if you wanted to draw, see, remember how I drew my hand up here? You could draw your hands stretching this out. I am going to use some lines. I forgot to write the word stretchy. I'll do that in a second. I'm going to draw some lines going this way. And I'm going to just push really lightly to color in the rest of it. I think I'm going to outline the edge too. There we go. And let me write the word. And when I write the word stretchy, let's see if I can make my letters stretchy. I'm going to stretch them out. Stretchy. Oh, that was fun. I like that, stretchy. I should have maybe tried to do that with all my other words too. I could probably go back in. Oh, look at that fuzzy texture. That's so cute. Maybe I'll make all my other words also have the texture on them. I bet you I could. There's bumpy. I kind of already did it with rough. Oh, can't really read. It says, does it look like it says bumpy? There we go. Squishy. Maybe I'll just make this one a little bit thicker, like bubble letters, as if it's made out of Play-Doh. Okay, fun. Oh, I really like this. Okay, now, I'm still looking here. How about this fake hair? It's kind of weird. I'm trying to figure out how it feels or how it looks. So it kind of feels stringy. I mean, it does feel soft. I could write soft, but I wanted to try to come up with a different word, but it's not sticky. It's not slimy. I already have fuzzy. I think I'm going to use this as soft. And this actually reminds me of like a sheep. So I think when I make my soft one, when I write the word soft, I'm going to make it look like a soft, fluffy cloud. And you do not have to make your words look like this. I just decided to do it. So again, these are sort of curly lines. So I'm going to take and just make a whole bunch of curly lines all together. See, that does look like that, but I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to turn it into, oops. I'm going to turn it into a little sheep. Because this just, that's what it reminded me of. Let me give him a little fluffy tail. Little nose. I think maybe they have black ears. All right, so you can turn it into a sheep. Oh my goodness. Again, just practice. My poor little sheepy. There. Okay. Fuzzy, bumpy, squishy, rough, stretchy, soft. Ooh, let's go with this one. I love this one because it's smooth. And sometimes maybe you've ever heard of a worry stone before, and worry stones are really smooth, so if you feel worried, you can take and just rub it and it helps soothe. A lot of times being able to feel or squish something can help you if you're feeling anxious or sad or stressed out or nervous. Being able to touch and feel something soft. I know when I was little, I had a favorite blanket that was very soft, and that comforted me at nighttime because I had something soft. So with your texture kit, you can assemble all of these little pieces together, and not only can they help you with your drawing, but they can also help you with your feelings. This is another good one here. I love these. All right, so I'm going to draw this very smooth glass rock here. And I'm going to use my pencil for the word smooth. Smooth. And really, I think I just need to draw sort of organic oval shape. And I see some little light reflecting off, so maybe I'll draw a few little light reflectors. You see the, oops, I just covered it up, but I can kind of see the light reflecting off. Oh yeah, there's a big white one. Actually, it looks different when I look at my phone because it's up here, so I can actually see different lights reflecting off of it. But when I look at my hand through the screen, I don't see that long skinny light. I just see a little one. So maybe I'll add a smaller one over here too. And I think I'm just gonna leave it just like that, because it looks very different than all of this. Smooth is usually just one solid feeling. It's so smooth. This almost looks like water, doesn't it? Okay, lastly, hold tight. I had so much fun making my own slimes the other day. I felt like a scientist exploring with different things, but this is my favorite one that I made. So for my last word, it's going to be slimy. Let's see if I can do some ASMR with the slime. Can you hear it? This could also be stretchy, sticky. It might even be smooth, but I'm gonna go with slimy. Okay, what color haven't I used? I haven't used much pink, so let's do slimy. I'm gonna make it sort of oozing down. I'm gonna make my letters look like they're kind of oozing around. Slimy. There we go. And I have my slime. Oh yeah, I can use pink. So I'm just gonna draw my slime. It's kind of swirled up right now, and it has some little stars and sparkles and little specks of color, or glitter, specks of glitter. Oops. Tried to color the wrong color. I'm gonna color my slime. It almost looks like a snail shell, doesn't it? Which the shell of a snail is not slimy, but the actual snail itself does leave a slimy trail. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna turn this into a snail here. And I'm gonna make a little cartoon snail. And he's gonna leave his slimy trail. There we go. Fun. Oh, love this. I can't wait to see what you find on your texture hunt and what you decide to draw. There were still tons of things that we had in our texture kit that I didn't draw. You can feel free to draw whatever you would like and however you would like. We're just practicing, and the more we practice, the better we get. So I hope you enjoyed this texture lesson. I know I did for sure. I will see you soon. Bye.